This is SPY on the 5-minute time frame. Here are your price targets for Friday. We ended the day at $568.64. To the north side takes us to VWAP in the blue at 571.27. Above that, at the middle of the trend or the median, 573.05. Another potential take profit area at resistance, 579.20. Another level of resistance, 582.53. And should we be so lucky as to get to this level, that is 585.41. Do not hold your breath for Friday. Now, to the south side, at one level of support and a potential buy-in area, 566.97, 563.83, and 560.71. These could also be potential stop loss areas. Now, looking left, we have this gap that is closed, no longer a threat to our account to the south side, and that was at 579.15. We went lower, bounced up, fell down, basically grinding sideways, and then crashed here. This gap to the north side closed out roughly at 583.30. And this gap, let me clean this one up. It touched to the south side right there. Done at 582.43. I have not looked at SPY for a little while. And what do we have here? This gap. So we've started to tickle this line. That will take us down to 562.19. We're just reversing course here, going down. And this one, right there, where we are almost there, that would take us to 568.32. And we ended at 568.44. And that is the miracle of a gap play. You never know when it's going to hit, but if you can identify them, let's see how close we were. Or we are right there. So I will anticipate that gap to close on Friday, but I like to complete all the gaps to the south side and to the north side, because that to me is just a magnet to work our way down. And then after that, we've got this one that will take us to 559.02. And below that, we also have, nope, that closed. So that's good. All right, that is it for SPY. And on the daily time frame, look at this. RSI going down. And let me just give you the price target on the daily. To the middle of the trend would take us back to roughly 584.92, and then to the south side at -2 standard deviations, where price is going to go to this line next or this line as it continues to fall. But on the daily, notice we are still in an upward channel, but that will wipe out this gap right here, and that will take us to 560.78, but this is a threat to 559.02, and then that one and that one. Why don't I just extend this? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that has not. Wait a minute. Did that touch? No. So we touched here, this gap. Yeah, that one is still in play. And so is that one. And then this 505. All right, I just wanted to make sure. And then let's take a look for giggles. What does the RSI say? I use this as support and resistance. We've started to crack after hitting resistance there. Made another attempt, fell back down, hit this critical area, and starting to tank. Okay, and we're starting to fall on the monthly. That makes sense. Back to the 5. Now let's go to Apple. I just want to show you. Okay, on the 5, we're crashing. On the daily, going down. And on the monthly, also falling down after we reached a critical mass area here. And on the monthly, also going down. So there's opportunity to go to the downside and possibly pick up some Apple if that's something you're interested in. But earnings came out today. That's why I want to take a look at this. Let's take this to the 5-minute. Option R, reset. Ignore all the yellow lines. Those are previous middle of the trend lines. And they changed constantly. So let's put a price on this first. Fix that. There, this is where we ended according to 225.91 TradingView. All right. Oh, let's show you what the earnings report said. Okay, revenue came in at 94.93 billion. The estimate was 94.512 billion. So that's an increase of 0.44%. But on the earnings, they reported 0.97. They expected on the street $1.60 per share, and that did not happen. And look at this. Right here is where we ended. On a red day, down 1.82%. So now your target to the south. Oh, well, let's go to the north side. I like to do that first. To the middle of the trend, resistance, 227.26. VWAP, 227.57. 229.37, 230.35, and 231.37. To the south side, 225.19. Another potential bounce area is at 224.16 and 223.16. Okay, that is it for that. And let's clean up the gaps. That closed to the downside at 231.61. This gap touched right here, so that is done. No longer a threat to our account to the south side. Obviously, there are other threats, just not this one anymore. Delete. I got to delete that one. All right, so basically, if I didn't know anything about earnings, didn't know what the analysts were projecting, and I just played the gaps, well, looking left, there was a gap here that I marked out. That gap, this gap, this gap, and it's just closing out gaps. And that could be based off of the news that comes out, the earnings, analyst forecast, whatever it is. There. Still going to take it down. So we gapped up, so I anticipate a gap down to fill it, and it looks like that's what we're doing, which is unfortunate. We're giving up the gains. The 52-week high was 237.49. Let's go to the daily. I've tracked this many times in my gap and go trades that I do over the weekends. It's hard to see, I know, but I know what every line represents. Oops. Okay. So this is where we are, and to the middle of the trend in the big picture on the daily could take us to 251.10, and then right now 224.32. Okay, and then all of these gaps, should we go down to -2 standard deviations in the big picture, way down the road, 197.54. But fortunately, we are still, as you can see, in an upward channel, not a steep one, but still in an upward zone. And on the 5, going down. So let's just rip off the Band-Aid, close out all these gaps so we can ride it back up again. Okay, that's Apple. And I think, I want to go over Bristol Myers Squibb. I got stopped out of this one. I was sleeping and I forgot to change the settings because I set the standard for my sell point very high and it hit, but had I followed it along, I could have made more money, but I didn't. But first, what I'm going to show you is price 55.77, up 5.91% finally. To the north side, 56.12, 56.80, 57.48, VWAP, 55.20, middle of the trend that lines up with the lower channel of VWAP, 54.72, 53.33, 52.63, and 51.98. All right, so that is it for the price targets. Looking left, we've got this gap. We gapped up this morning, okay, off of earnings. We reported $11.892 billion. The estimate was $11.264 billion. The earnings per share, $1.80. The estimate was only $1.494, so that's up 20.47%. Incredible. All right. So we gapped up, and then whenever we reverse course, I will anticipate it to fill. But right now we are in an upward channel. That will take us down to 52.77. Right, and looking left, hard to see. Oh, that was this tiny little gap. It's a nothing. It's basically nothing. Let me just go to the daily so I can show you. So the next target on the daily, we are still in a downward channel, but it could correct itself because we had a good earnings. But people are taking their profits and they are running, they're locking in, and they are leaving. And I'm so stupid. Oh my goodness. Had I just looked left and taken a look at this in a bigger time frame, I would have seen this and set my stop loss at 56.55. That is going to be the target, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. All right, I've tracked this many times, and in the big picture, you can see that I bought this at 42.10. The light pink is where I've sold out my shares already. So I bought at 45, 48.94. I bought at 50.45 and also at 51.50. But I sold at 50, 51, 52.51, and today 54%. And then I kept. Oh, I also sold at 43. I kept this level here at 42.10. I bought shares at 42.10. Okay. And it triggered today. Let me move this back to the 5. Okay. And basically, I had set this, as I mentioned, weeks and weeks ago. So from here, where I bought it to where I sold it, was a 28.27% return I got. But had I done my homework, I could have kept changing and increasing the stop limits. So we wicked up to 56.20, very close to this gap fill. And then obviously what happens, this is resistance, sell, 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 buy, or set your stop loss, sell limit, sell limit, sell limit. So that's how I use these lines. Obviously there are many ways to do this, but this just to me is the easiest. Okay. So that is it for BMY. I also wanted to get mRNA, but it started to run a little bit. I've talked about that in the past. So keeping my eyes on that, and Estee Lauder as well. Congrats if you bought in or sold Altria Group. I've tracked this a long time ago. Let me just show you in the big picture here. So the last time I looked at it appears maybe with the gap here at $39.99. Yep, and the lowest was $39.25. Look at that. Ugh. I like to buy on the monthly time frame as well and then just let it ride for a while. Okay, and then let's see, what opportunity do we have? Oh, that's that Estee Lauder I was talking about. But I've tracked this. Here's the daily. So we have this gap. It's just like this going down, down, down. So now this looks super attractive. On the daily, the RSI looks great. I've marked out on the monthly what the RSI is, and it's been the lowest it's ever been is this level on the monthly, and now we're even below that. So I think there is some good opportunity in Estee Lauder. 1 year price target 101. Of course, that's the big picture. If you can't stomach the up and downs of this roller coaster ride, that's hard to take, I know. Up 47% if we hit that target of 101. Oops. Just for giggles, since I'm here and this will be the last one, let's just mark this out. So we ended the day at 68.49 or 94. Okay. So we're at VWAP. 71.93, 81.96, 86.84, 92.12. To the south side, 61.55, 56.69, and 51.62. All right, that does it for me. I hope you guys have a great Halloween. And if there is a ticker that you want me to go over, please let me know. Have a great trading day.